Well, hey there, folks. Just like how only you can prevent forest fires, only you can prepare yourself for what's ahead on this podcast. But before we hike into the woods of horror films and all the terrifying tales they tell, you should know that on this show, we'll be taking a deep dive into some of your favorite scary movies. But be warned, there will be spoilers hidden behind every tree stump. So if you haven't seen the movie we're talking about, well, you should probably circle on back to the trailhead, partner. Not only that, but things can get a little, let's say, explicit around here. You'll hear strong language, and those opinions of ours, they can be as sharp as a bear's fangs. So remember, only you can decide if you're ready for the journey ahead. So stick around if you're prepared to face all those spoilers and listen to all that strong language and entertain some seriously bold takes. Otherwise, tread lightly. You've been warned.
Birds are not aggressive creatures, miss. They bring beauty into the world. It is mankind, rather, who insists upon making it difficult for life to exist upon this planet. Now, if it were not for
Mrs.
birds...
Bundy, you don't seem to understand. This young lady said there was an attack on the school.
Impossible.
It's the end of the world.
What actually happened at the school?
A bunch of crows attacked the school kids.
It's the end of the world. Thus saith the Lord God unto the mountains and the hills and the rivers and the valleys. Behold, I, even I, shall bring a sword upon you, and I will devastate your high places. Ezekiel chapter 6.
Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink.
Isaiah chapter 5. It's the end of the world.
Hello, and welcome to Season 6 of Monster Madness. If you're a longtime listener, thank you for patiently waiting for our glorious return. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. There's a lot of newness to this show this season, but before we get into all of that hubbub, I would like to introduce my ride or die co-host, the one, the only, Matt. Hey, buddy. This is an auditory podcast. Nobody can see what you're doing. He's throwing gang signs right now.
It wasn't a gang sign. It was a double crossed on peace lean back.
That could be gang in Wisconsin. I don't know.
Yeah, because, gang affiliation runs rampant here.
Listen, I know someone who dated a gang member in Indiana.
I'm not saying that they don't exist. I just don't think they are as prevalent as you might believe.
That's true. They're not the Crips or the Bloods. They're just the Kurds.
I had to go wash my hair.
Yeah. So, Season 6 of Monster Madness is called When Animals Attack. And we will be covering all sorts of films where animals ravage and hunt humans. This season has been in the making even before we recorded the very first episode of Monster Madness, which I actually don't think Matt knows.
I'm not surprised.
I have always wanted him to watch one of my favorite animal attack movies. But then the idea, as all of my ideas tend to spiral, it became, how can I get Matt to watch an array of movies that I love that he would not typically watch, and he has no choice? And here we are, many years later, many episodes later, and in fact, this is actually our 99th episode, and I am over the moon that we are finally here at this season.
If there's ever any concern as to how much I hate my life, Erika's explanation of what she does to me on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, should pretty much paint that picture.
He's a sad, sad boy.
I'm emotionally abused by my friends.
I don't think I emotionally abuse you.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Telling myself that I don't emotionally abuse you. So far, if you are a returning listener, you could see that Monster Madness has a new logo, new music, a new listener advisory, new, all over this bitch. But the deeper that we get into the show, you will see that our format has changed a little bit too, and we hope that you enjoy it. But before we get into our first segment, a few plugs, and y'all know what I'm going to say. You can find Monster Madness on all your favorite podcasting platforms, social media sites, and things of that nature. Matt does stream video games, and I occasionally join him now. He also streams drum sessions from time to time, so you can check that out on our Twitch channel and YouTube. We upload all our gameplay to YouTube, not so much the drum streams because, copyright.
Thanks a lot, Jeff Bezos.
Is it Jeff Bezos' fault? I mean, what isn't at this point?
I was going to say thanks a lot, Jimmy Carter, but he just died.
Yeah, R.I.P. If you'd like to support our show, you could do so in many different ways, such as Patreon, buying merch, or donating to the show, or simply leaving a rating and review on your favorite podcasting provider. Those 5 stars go a long way, and if you decide to write something, we will read it on the show. All the links for the aforementioned things will be posted in our show notes. So, the last season, we tacked on a new segment called Does It Fuck at the end of our show, but this season, we are going to do it right now. So, welcome to Does It Fuck? Or if you prefer,
Did it he my jeebies?
if you prefer it, friend of the show, Seth, please write in, and others, have our heebies been jeebied? I'll be honest, I really do like that. I do like it.
It's fucking hilarious. It's just a mouthful.
You're not the one saying it.
Well, when I say something that heebied my jeebies, I have to go, it heebied on my jeebies.
You could just say I'm jeebied.
Definitely got me in the giblets.
There you go. So, Matt, have your heebies been jeebied recently?
I mean, it's the holiday season. My heebies have been nothing but jeebied lately.
That's true. That's fair.
Partially your fault. Waffle cones, those are all gone. I finished the peppermint ones yesterday. Nutella made it about 25 minutes. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the stuffing chips, the turkey stuffing biscuits. Most of the sauces that made it are gone.
I'm so sad about the pickle one.
Yeah, it turns out that the garlic one had also cracked.
Damn it.
So I ate a bunch and then realized that there was a big hole in the bottle. I just need to I'll go to Target and get more. It's not the end of the world, but
I know. I just don't know how close Target is to you.
it's more that that time of year the Target is in the mall, like the one that's closest to me. And our mall is the mall that people drive hours to go to, which is odd because there's nothing. Yeah, so it's going to Target is miserable. Like when we had our wrestling guest back in December, he's like, "Hey, can we stop at Target real quick?" And it was like a 5-minute walk from my car to get in, type of parking lot shit. So I'll just wait till after the holidays to go. I need to return a wig, anyways. That's all right over there. Alyssa bought one for Halloween, never wore it. Amazon gives you a generous 4-month window to get it back. So I have till February 2nd, and I put in the return on November 1st.
There it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's that. Chobani makes these, they're called Creations, yogurt cups.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they have a tiramisu one and the cheesecake one. Those heebied my jeebies. The salted caramel was fine, but it wasn't really that great. That, and because of the holidays, shrimp dip.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget shrimp dip. You talked about shrimp dip at the end of last season, I believe.
I don't have a shrimp dip tattoo because I like looking at it.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How about your heebies?
Well,
them been jeebied? Sorry.
I'm actually going to find out if I can partake in the shrimp dip very soon because I go see an allergist.
I thought you were just going to eat one and roll the dice and see what happens. That's what I was hoping for.
I mean, I will. I just need a couple Benadryl, and I'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm going to eat shrimp and get sleepy. What a day.
What a horrible day that is. I would love to eat like a fucking lobster roll and just take a nap. That, right? The last time I had a lobster roll was like 13 years ago, and it was the best decision. I had to take many a Benadryl, but,
worth it. I don't see any issues.
It was fucking 1000% worth it because I ate it in Montauk, and that was just succulent fucking lobster. Oh, and tiny little baby shrimps. Oh, so good. So good. That heebied my jeebies.
It sounded like talking about it heebied your jeebies.
It might have a little bit, but, let me just turn my camera off real quick.
Good God.
Food-wise, nothing has heebied my jeebies, like, crazily. I don't have anything, like, really to report. I did make French onion soup this week, and that definitely heebied the jeebies.
It looks pretty good.
Right? Didn't it? I was really impressed with that picture. I was like, damn, you look restaurant fucking quality. Let's see. Christmas, I made my Tuscan chicken. That was fire. You know what? Real quick, let me look at my DoorDash to see if I feel like I did. I feel like I did try something recently that I was like, oh, this. Sorry, Seth. This fucked. You're just gonna have to deal with it, sir.
While you're looking for that, so Seth and I talked about going to get those lightning rod mozzarella sticks because they're in Milwaukee.
Do it.
I mean, of course, we just need to find time to go because I can't go without him. And I feel like he, as a human being, wouldn't eat an entire one, so he needs backup.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the size of my arm, and I'm not scared. And then I'll wonder why I can't shit right for 3 days.
Oh, okay. So I did have something. I don't think I talked about this.
Curious to see this transition here.
I'm sorry. I hear about your shit a lot more than the audience.
No, you're not wrong.
Anyway, I don't know if I talked about it on last season, but I tried the Krabby Patty burger from Wendy's.
I know we talked about it, but I don't remember if you talked about it on the show.
Yeah, I don't remember. We talk a lot, but it was pretty freaking good. It was pretty freaking good. But here's the thing. Brooke got the ghost pepper ranch chicken sandwich there. Holy
Really?
shit. Seeing that actually reminding me, I might have to get that tomorrow. For Fuck It Friday.
Because they just reopened all the Wendy's here. Like they closed down and then now they're under new owners. So I gotta take Judy to the groomer at noon. So my whole thing was like, where can I stop to eat? But it's down in Nina. So the world is my oyster for the most part.
Yeah, I was actually
Sorry, finish what you were saying. I just thought of something, well, because we're talking about chicken.
No, I was like super impressed. And I mean, the Krabby Patty was good. I got it because it was novelty. And it's like, you know, I grew up, I watched SpongeBob. It was enjoyable, yada, yada, yada. And then she's like, oh, do you want to try my sandwich? I was like, yeah, sure. I wish I got that.
Are you sure it's Wendy's? Like, I understand the stupid question, but I'm looking at their website. The Krabby Patty isn't listed anymore, but I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a limited thing, but the ghost pepper ranch chicken sandwich.
So yesterday we went to a Korean barbecue place in town.
Ooh.
Like all of a sudden there's two of them. And for whatever reason, wildly expensive, but oh yeah, they do the ghost pepper chicken ranch.
Yeah, it's still there.
Ghost pepper
Hell
ranch.
Yeah.
They had, so I like doing this thing where I piss off my sweet, sweet dear friend Dylan, who doesn't listen to this, so I don't even have to be nice to him. But every time I go to a Chinese buffet, I send him a picture of chicken nuggets. And that sushi place that I've always told you about has really, really good chicken nuggets. They're just like Costco massive bag. However they make them, they're just really good. So they had chicken nuggets on the menu at this Korean barbecue. So we were like, well, fuck it, we're getting these things. And they were the best. They were Korean fried chicken breaded hunks of chicken. Ooh. They weren't like little chicken nuggets. And I literally waited and told him about it. He goes, you gotta fucking stop with the chicken nuggets at the Chinese buffets. I'm like, trust me. There's like there's two. There's one that's like a half mile from his house, and then there's one in Appleton. And I said, trust me. There was regular, spicy, and then Chinese 5-spice Korean fried chicken. And I think we got like, so you can get them by like the one. So it's wild how you order at this place. But it was like, we ended up getting like 3 or 4 different orders of flavors of 4 each time. Because there was 4 of us. It was so fucking good.
I love that.
If you've never been to a Korean barbecue, it is a immense amount of work for what you get.
Really? I have never.
There was 4 of us, and you have like one literally like 12-inch pizza-sized grill to grill everything on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because you got to cook everything, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you have to play the game, and it's like, all right, I did 5 minutes of work. Here's one piece of meat, and then like someone's grilling while other people are eating. So it's like I guess it's a fucking experience. But they also had $15 old fashions, which seems goofy, but
was it good?
I didn't get one. I went for lunch, work lunch, and I'm not paying $15 for a lunch old fashioned. Lunch beers is a different story, but...
Did I ever tell you about the time that Mikey took me to a Chinese restaurant, like right after I had turned 21, and I got a Long Island iced tea at this place called the Imperial Inn that's not in Chinatown anymore, which is really a big bummer because I would have fucking taken you there in a heartbeat. Like, you walk in and you'd be like, I don't want to eat here, but then they take you to like the nice room in the back, and the food is just ginormous portions, out of this world Chinese food. And I was like, I think I want to try like an iced tea for lunch today. And they like brought out that fucking huge thing. I got so lit. He was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, what? I thought you got just like a weird iced tea. I'm like, no, it's a Long Island. I didn't realize there was that much liquor in it.
Yeah.
Listen.
I mean, now you know because you're 47, but Long Island iced teas are just like, I remember that was like the way to get fucked up when we were kids. Like, we used to go to Applebee's when we were in our early 20s because Sheboygan didn't have a whole lot, and just drink Long Islands and do half-priced appetizers.
Hey man, there is nothing wrong with a good Applebee's trip.
I'm sure I told you this story, but it's been a couple years. The last time I went to Applebee's was a couple years ago. We played in Sheboygan, so I went to the one that we used to hang out at, and I went into the bathroom, and our guitar player was in there too. And Tim and I were fucking around, and I go to pee, and I just look to my right, and there's the stall door's open, by the way. It's ajar. It's not all the way open, but it's ajar. And I look to the right, and there's just a dude on the toilet staring at me. And like, the way Tim and I act is probably not. But anyway, so I go back to the table and I tell everyone we're laughing at me, and then Nathan's wife goes, "Oh, I just walked out of the bathroom. Oh my God, he went into the kitchen. That was the fucking chef was taking a shit and watching me pee." And yeah, so I have not been back to Applebee's since. Not that is representation of all Applebee's. I'm sure there are some quite fine establishments with their.
But here's the thing. This is how you know that we have failed as a society, is that there's signs in restaurants that says employees must wash hands before going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I try, when I go out to eat, there is a lot of, suspension of disbelief that these people who are touching my food are not complete and utter scumbags. I don't want to know if I've consumed something nefarious. Like, just let me live my life ignorantly.
For what it's worth, when I worked in restaurants, I always wash my hands, but I am weird and wash my hands a lot at any time, like even when I cook for myself at home. So that has nothing to do with your cleanliness. That's just me.
No, that's fine. I wash my hands, pretty frequently. I don't count, but
No, I actually, Alyssa makes fun of me because I'll cook with, like, if I'm doing a lot of stuff with raw meat, I'll put gloves on.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
She makes fun of me. She's like, it's kind of a waste. I'm like, what's either that or I wash my hands every time I go do something else that isn't touching raw meat.
Yeah, no, if I'm touching, unless it's like chicken breasts, but like if I'm fucking around with like ground beef or something like that, gloves are on. I'm like, I don't want that shit under my nails and stuff.
Oh, I guess you have nails. I don't have that problem.
Well, no, I keep my nails really short, but like even like I just don't like. I also don't really like touching raw meat at all.
I mean, I don't necessarily blame you. I was on your side.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make a comment.
Nope.
Oh, I bet you don't, bitch. Sorry, I just did it for you.
Yeah, you're fucking. You came into this season with a chip on your shoulder.
I feel aggressive. I'm excited.
I just keep looking at fast food menus. I have not eaten dinner yet, so
I really hope you get that ghost pepper sandwich and it was just as good to you as it was to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why it would, but as long as I go that direction. One Friday night when I came home from wrestling, I was fucking starving because I ate like a chicken wrap at like 3, and then I got home at like 11. So I stopped at the Taco Bell in between there and my house, and I was just like eating like double-decker tacos while driving. It was wildly unsafe, but there's too much distance from the Taco Bell to home for it to not suck, and I didn't want to deal with reheating it in the oven at 11 o'clock at night. So I'm still finding hunks of lettuce in places.
Should you just pull some out of your pockets right now? It's been weeks. Fucking shredded lettuce. Oh, you know what else? Fucking heebed my jeebies. Aldi. I have to, it's.
You do love Aldi.
I fucking love Aldi. They have a jalapeno ranch chip. I would buy 85 bags of those. Dip it in Mazzetti's dill dip or the
love that shit. It's
or
great.
The ranch one.
Against you. I'm just once again.
Listen, man.
I just said I'm on your side.
I know. I'm used to you not being on my side.
You're going to wish that Judy kept me up all night puking more often, aren't you?
No, never. I would never wish that hell upon you because I dealt with... Here's the thing. So, newsflash for the listeners. For Christmas, I got my daughter's kittens.
Pushy doodles.
We already had our cat Jasper, who's an angel baby. Perfect little sweet boy who does nothing wrong and smells like sugar cookies. I don't know how, but he does. I really wish I could explain it. He does. But his breath smells like fucking trash. But he smells great. Like when I hug him and like nuzzle with him, smells great. So me and Brooke were out and about. It was a couple days before Christmas. And we had to go to the pet store to get something for him. And we heard like a bunch of like hubbub. And we walked over to the cat section like to look to see if they had any kittens or anything. And there was a huge sign that said, cat event today at 12. It was like 9 o'clock when we were in there because I get my shit done early because I don't like people. And I was like, well, if you want, we can come back in a couple hours and just see because we've been talking about getting Jasper a buddy. He's always had other cats with him. So he was getting a little lonely and quite frankly, kind of fucking annoying because he just wanted to play all the time. Because the fucker sleeps all day and then he's like, it's 11 o'clock. I'm ready to fucking go. Zoom, 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 zoom. Like, I'm just like, no, bro. We go to bed at 7:30 in this house. Like, what are you talking about? So we went and we saw 2 kittens in a cage And we were really excited to meet them because they were really affectionate and they were really personable. But this one fucking crotchety bitch was like, they're already claimed, but the person isn't coming for like another hour. I'm like, well, fucking finders keepers, bitch. So we moved on from those, and I was kind of bummed. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna fucking find anything that they're all older cats, and like I do understand that when you rescue a cat, like most of the time they are older, but most of these cats needed a lot more help than I can provide them. And then they had one small cage that had 4 kittens in it that was an abandoned litter that was found, and then they were in a foster home and yada, yada, yada. One cat was already claimed. This little girl and this very boisterous, raspy speaking man was looking at another one. His name was Mr. Wednesday because they were all named after the Addams family. We had Cousin Itzy, Tisha, Gomez, and Mr. Wednesday. The 2 left were Cousin Itzy and Tisha. And I was like, they're both being really sweet. I was like, can we meet both of those? So we go into the room, and literally the one was orange and the other one was black. The black cat was Tisha. She was the female. She was on me like white on rice. She was just so affectionate and so cuddly and purring. And the orange cat, Cousin Itzy, was right on Brooke. And I was talking to the lady. I was like, what's your adoption fees? What's this? And the second she said this next sentence, I knew I was walking out of there with 2 cats. She's like, well, one cat is this much, but if you get both of them, there's a discount. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I literally almost said that to her. I was just like, well, I know I guess you might as well just get the paperwork because I'll take both of them. Because they were super bonded too.
Right.
So we wound up getting both of them, and they're sweet little angel babies, except the fact that Billy shit all over the house today because he had an upset stomach. That was mortifying. But, it comes with the territories. I'm trying to remember that he's just a little kitten baby angel. But literally, Ellie is straight up, because we named them Ellie and Billy. And Ellie is my cat. Like, she's on my lap all day long. She cuddles with me at night. I'm just obsessed with her. So that heebed my jeebies too over the holiday seasons, and my kids too. They're absolutely obsessed.
I mean, we got another dog.
Yeah, that's true. Moody Judy. Precious Moody Judy.
Precious Judy Moody. Close. No cigar.
Ah.
Yeah.
Damn it. I was so close.
Yeah. She's great, I guess. She was a puppy mill breeder. So she likes to eat everything with her ass in the air. And I just remind her that she no longer has to live that kind of life.
You could take the puppy out of the mill.
You can't take the slut out of the pitch. So I got her, the first thing I did was bought her a collar and a tag. And I'm pretty sure I've sent you both, but the collar says "No balls, still a baller."
You did not send me that one.
Oh, the tag says "Cheese slut," and forgot that that's what those said when we took her to the vet this morning to establish care at our vet. And the lady was like, "Whoa, Judy, what do you like?" And Melissa goes, "Oh, she really likes cheese." So they put cheese in it. And I was like, "Oh, I forgot about her tag." And the girl looks at me and says, "It just says cheese slut." She goes, "If it works." Yep. So that was cool.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I love the cheese slut one. It makes me laugh.
It works. And it's like literally when we technically still fostered her, we were like, well, what snacks does she like? And like cheese was one of the first things that she like willingly ate. So it worked out.
There you go.
Well, if she didn't eat cheese, we would have sent her right the fuck back where she came from.
You're like, this didn't work.
This
out.
one's broken. But I thought of it because she was originally paired with this other dog, Ramona Quigley. And it was like whoever surrendered her was like, if you get them both, you get a discount. So it's like one is this much, but if you get 2, it's actually like cheaper than if you just got 1. But then, so we obviously only got Judy, and I said something to Alyssa. I'm like, so like, do they not get the money unless they like adopted out both at once? Or does Ramona just get to be like really fucking cheap? And we both assume that because it was a puppy mill, they probably just won't ever give them the money.
Probably not.
So, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, whatevs. So yeah, new animals, new foods. I think we've effectively caught everybody up with what's been going on with us for the last month or so. So to kick off our When Animals Attack season on this episode of Monster Madness, we are taking flight with one of Alfred Hitchcock's most iconic thrillers From its unsettling silences to its swarming chaos, we're breaking down the terror, the tension, and what makes this flock of feathered fiends a horror classic. So grab your binoculars and keep your eyes on the skies. We're discussing 1963's The Birds.
That's a sparrow, all right.
We know what it is, Al.
Do you have a light burning or something?
Well, yes, but there wouldn't have been that much light going up the chimney.
Because sometimes birds are attracted by light, you know. Sure is a peculiar thing.
Well, all right, but we've got to do something about it.
I don't think I get you, Midge. Do about what?
Well, the birds invaded the house.
What's more likely, they got in the room and was just panicked. That's
All right, I'll admit a bird will panic in an enclosed room, but they didn't just get in. They came in right down the chimney.
My wife found a bird in the back seat of her car once.
Tell him about the party.
That's right. We had a party here this afternoon for Kathy for her birthday. In the
How
middle
old
of
is she?
11. In the middle of the party, some seagulls came down at the children. Miss Daniels was attacked by a gull only yesterday.
Yeah. Were the kids bothering the birds or something? Because if you make any kind of a disturbance near them, they just come after you.
Al, the children were playing a game. Those gulls attacked.
Now, Lydia, attack's a pretty strong word, don't you think? I mean, birds just don't go around attacking people without no reason. You know what I mean? Kids probably scared them, that's all.
These birds attacked.
The Birds is rated PG-13. It was filmed from March 5th of 1962 to July 10th, 1962. It was released on March 28th, 1963 in New York City, New York. It falls into the drama, horror, mystery, and romance genre.
Well, she was chasing Homeboy around with lovebirds, so...
Yeah, I mean, it was a little light on the romance, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
It has a runtime of 1 hour and 59 minutes. It was directed by Alfred Hitchcock. The writing credits go to, it was actually a short story by a woman named Daphne du Maurier, and the screenplay was written by a man named Evan Hunter. It was produced by Alfred J. Hitchcock Productions and Universal Pictures, and it was also distributed by Universal Pictures in the United States. As for the music, funnily enough, there is no soundtrack for this film. It was thought that the film would be more unsettling without it, and, I would have to agree. The special effects were done by Walt Disney Productions, but they remained uncredited, even though they're credited right here. It's my favorite thing. The cast consists of Rod Taylor, Tippi Hedren, Suzanne Plachette, Jessica Tandy, Veronica Cartwright, Ethel Griffiths, Charles McGraw, Ruth McDevitt, and Lonnie Chapman, among others. Some taglines for the film, based on Daphne du Maurier's classic suspense story. Introducing Tippi Hedren, a fascinating new personality. Please do not see the end first. See it from the beginning. Suspense and shock beyond anything you have ever seen or imagined. It could be the most terrifying motion picture I have ever made. Nothing you have ever witnessed before has prepared you for such sheer stabbing shock. What?
No, I was gonna... Yeah, you're good. Keep on.
This one's going to annoy you. The Birds is coming, which is not grammatically correct, but that's intentional. And lastly, and remember this, the next scream you hear could be your own. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, none of those are really great. I was going to make a comment about how why wouldn't you start from the start, but I forgot this was back in the day when they would just play movies. They would start, and then it would just, as soon as it was over, they would restart it.
Yep.
And people would walk in like halfway through and shit. So
yeah, I think that was a fun fact that you actually told me a long, long time ago. I think when we covered Psycho,
Probably.
because he had the same tagline in Psycho.
Yes.
He had a couple of the same taglines, like, this makes me the most scariest movie I ever made. Like, no shit.
One trick fucking pony.
Hey, man, you calm down.
Well, I like that he puts himself in all the movies too.
Him walking the dog in this one.
Yeah.
I forget where he was in Psycho, probably somewhere like walking on the streets or something like that when Marion Crane is driving around. But what's the budget, Matt?
He is a man in a cowboy hat standing outside of Marion's office.
See?
Budget was $3.3 million. Now that we're back in the olden days, I get to use my trusty inflation calculator. That is $34 million. You know what the saddest part about all this was? Is that since 1963, the rate of inflation is 931%.
Yeah, I feel that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was like something like while watching this movie that really, because, okay, I've been watching, you make fun of me, but I've been watching a lot of like Criterion movies, which are all older movies for the most part. There is obviously newer ones that come out all the time, but for the most part, they're from yesteryear. I don't like the fashion so much for, like, I would never dress as the women dressed in, the 30s or the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. But I miss how simple everything seemed and how intentional everything seems. A job was actually a job. Everything now seems so automated and so much less effort and actual human interaction that it's kind of like it brings me down. Like the even the bird shop that she walks into, I'm like, this is a fucking cool pet store.
Yeah.
Like if I was a kid, I would be completely fascinated by walking into that pet store. Now you walk into a boring ass PetSmart that's dirty, generic, boring. We've lost a lot of uniqueness, is what I'm learning watching movies like this. And that bums me out.
I also noticed how slow everything seems.
But is that necessarily a bad thing?
When your brain is like mine, it is.
Would you even know your brain is like that if you didn't know any better of how fast-paced things could be?
Because when I finished watching it, I listened to watch, but she walked out. I kind of want to save this till the end, but I don't want to forget it. So
that's right. Say it.
It was just like, I said, do you remember this movie being pretty bad? And she's like, I remember it being pretty fucking boring. And I'm like, it's pretty long. Not a whole lot happens. A lot of the shots are real slow. The reactions are like goofy, but it also like, it's the 60s. The acting was different and a lot of the shit was different. So it's a different time, because we both agree that like in the 60s, this movie was probably fucking insane.
Oh yeah, it was.
Like all the however they did the birds and all that stuff, which is probably just like they overlaid a scene or some shit, but it was like, it looked
I'll tell you.
I figured you would. It looked so fucking fake, but for the time, it probably like
blew people's minds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I thought of one scene that I thought was really fucking cool, but we'll get there when we get there.
All right, well then we're gonna get into the plot and analysis, not fully from Wikipedia, so you can read along, but this is my blurb writing, and some theft, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Our story begins in San Francisco, where Melanie Daniels, a wealthy socialite known for her pranks and mischief, meets Mitch Brenner, a handsome lawyer. Mitch recognizes Melanie from a past incident that landed Melanie in a bout of legal trouble, and he charmingly pretends not to know her, engaging her in a teasing conversation at a bird shop. Mitch is there to buy lovebirds for his younger sister Kathy as a birthday present. Captivated by Mitch, Melanie not only pretends to work at the shop, but flirts back with Mitch, and later impulsively decides to purchase the lovebirds herself and delivers them to his weekend home in Bodega Bay, a small coastal town. Melanie's trip to Bodega Bay takes a peculiar turn when a seagull inexplicably swoops down and attacks her as she's crossing the bay in a boat. This is the first in a series of increasingly strange and violent bird attacks. Now, I'm going to already stop right here. So, number one, she drives 60 fucking miles to Bodega Bay from Mitch's apartment after she crazily finds his fucking address through some sort of connection that she has through an office of some sort. And then she gets in the rinkiest of dinkiest boats with a bird cage and crosses an entire fucking bay. Listen, I love a good prank. I love a good, aha moment. But there is no way in hell I'm driving 60 miles one goddamn way, first of all, which is probably like a little over an hour, but still. To a person I don't really know? No. Not only that, I'm not getting in a fucking boat either, because we don't tread water, meaning you and I. We don't do water. No. But it gets even crazier. Secondly, she fully breaks into his house to put the birds in there. Ha ha ha. How do you know that this is going to go over well? This is what I'm talking about. This is 1963. Times have changed. Because if someone fucking came into my house with 2 lovebirds after a little joke in a fucking pet store, I don't care how cute you are, get the fuck out of my house. You psychopath. You found my address of not at my house, my mother's house, and you drove 60 miles with birds. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a decision was made?
Fucking bananas. How far would you go for a prank? I'm not talking distance, but prank-wise. Are you a prankster?
Depending on who the recipient is, but yeah. I mean, keep in mind, I my dad's gift card for Christmas was printed on a 24x36 poster that he has to go into the store with to get scanned to use.
Oh my God. How was his reaction to that?
I mean, he didn't hate it. He was just like, what the hell? I said, I have the email. He goes, no, I'm going to go in there with this. And I said, just say your dipshit son made you do this.
I love him so much.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Were you able to do the puzzle thing for your mom?
Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure someone at the company that printed it stole it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I called Amazon and they're like, oh, well, sometimes we accidentally double give out codes. So we'll refund it. Just buy her another one. I'm like, okay.
That's bullshit. That sucks. I'm sorry.
I agree. I mean, there's a chance that it was just accidentally double sent, but whatever.
What's the likelihood of that?
Pretty low when it went through a bunch of hands. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
people are fucking scumbags.
I agree.
And it wouldn't be like, I mean, it's traceable, but also how much effort is Amazon going to put into that? They're just going to refund it to you.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty solid pranking. But I don't think you'd drive 60 miles and then an additional like boat ride to fulfill a prank.
Once again, it depends on who it is and what the prank is.
Fair. I can't wait to prank you one day.
That's fine.
Our friendship is a prank. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. Now I'm just going to get a plane ticket and come out and give you a hug because I feel bad. That was a bad one.
I mean, I can't remember what we offered to fly you out here for.
You offered to fly me out like bi-weekly. You're like,
yeah, it was probably like a pretty good meat raffle or some shit.
Probably. The simplest thing. Like, there's a game Thursday night. You want to, we'll fly you out here. Come out. It's just the simplest things.
As of recording this, my sports team plays your sports team on Sunday.
Exactly.
But it's in Philadelphia. It's in Philadelphia, not here.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Melanie stays in Bodega Bay because she's fucking crazy, to get to know Mitch, his family, and the townspeople. She meets Mitch's overprotective mother, Lydia, and his ex-girlfriend, Annie, who still harbors feelings for him but helps Melanie find a place to stay. Women helping women. Work. As Melanie spends more time in Bodega Bay, the bird attacks escalate in frequency and severity. What begins as a minor incidents, such as a gull swooping at Melanie, sparrows flying down chimneys, soon turns into a full-scale assault on the residents. One memorable scene shows crows gathering ominously on a jungle gym near the local school. The birds, which are usually seen as harmless, become an inexplicable force of terror. Tensions build as the townspeople grapple with the bizarre events. They attempt to rationalize the situation, but there is no clear explanation for why the birds have suddenly turned aggressive. Their attempts to understand or control the situation prove futile. The attacks become more deadly as time goes on. A group of birds attack a children's party, then the town itself is besieged. People are injured, homes and buildings are damaged, which I love seeing a fucking giant hole in a roof, thinking that a goddamn crow could peck through that, but whatever.
Right.
And then after all of this, the panic finally sets in. Some residents, including a local woman in a diner, suggest that the attacks might be a divine punishment. Another chilling moment comes when the birds inexplicitly crash into a glass telephone booth, trapping Melanie inside. The most intense sequence occurs when Melanie is trapped in a house with Mitch, Lydia, and Kathy. They board up the windows and doors, trying to keep the birds out, but despite their efforts, birds find a way in, and the scene becomes a claustrophobic nightmare as they fight for survival. So actually, during this part, one of my favorite shots occurs as you talk about how boring and slow everything is moving. There's a shot of Lydia, Melanie, and Mitch. They're all standing in, I think, the living room, and they do this like dolly pan shot. It's like goes backwards because everybody always like, oh, it's panning. Panning means there's many different camera movements. I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a dolly shot. That goes from Lydia to Melanie, but I may actually have them mixed up. The two women. I just thought it was a gorgeous shot because you see the terror on their face. They're effectively trapped, and it's just There's no music, there's no talking. They're barely breathing, but you just hear the chaos of the whipping of the wings and the calls of the birds outside. Like they know that they're fucked, essentially. Yeah. And I just thought it was a super cool shot. But in the final scenes, after a particularly brutal attack, Melanie is severely injured because she foolishly decided to investigate upstairs, and when she entered a bedroom, there was a giant hole in the roof, allowing the birds to get into the house. Mitch decided they must leave Bodega Bay. Despite the ominous flock of birds that still gathered outside, the family cautiously drives away in the eerie silence of dawn as thousands of birds perch, watching but not attacking. The film ends with ambiguity, with no explanation for the bird attacks, leaving audiences unsettled and perhaps even a little bit confused. Bada bing, bada boom. That is a synopsis of The Birds. Yeah, You brought up before all that this must have been wild in the 60s, and I actually did some research on that because it's been kind of fascinating to me to watch these movies and try to put myself in that mindset of a 33-year-old in 1963. I'm not jaded by all the movies that I've seen. Like, this didn't scare me by any means, but how would I feel in that situation?
Which is funny is Tippi Hedren was 33 in this movie.
Fucking right. God.
Yeah. Well, it's always weird to look at, like, yeah, that's where I was going, where I was like, I bet I can't remember the old lady, Jessica Tandy, so she would have been
37.
No, she was like 50, but she looked 75.
I mean, that's the only downfall to, like, these movies, or, like, that generation, rather, is 18-year-olds looked 40. It was a hard living.
Oh, no, that's true. That is true.
So, this movie basically birthed psychological horror. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't get movies. I didn't quote it, so I don't know exactly where I read this, but you don't get movies like The Blair Witch Project without this.
True.
You don't get movies like Halloween without Alfred Hitchcock's, the way he spun horror. He was really famous for, I call it using the negative space. Like, he really leans on what you don't see and only, like, kind of like what you imagine and what you hear. Like, you see the birds, but in your day-to-day life, like, I see pigeons, I see sparrows. I'm not petrified. And oddly enough, in my neighborhood, and I may have sent you videos of this because it happens once a year, and I do call it the Birds Day, because these black crows will migrate around my area, and there will be like 500 crows outside in a tree, and they'll like swoop down and they'll, peck in the grass and like eat the worms and stuff like that. And it looks crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
The second anyone opens a door, they go flying, and it's crazy. But yeah, like, he really does lean into silences. That was the one thing when I was reading about Alfred Hitchcock, because my dad's a huge Hitchcock fan, and I actually watched Criterion Spine number 3, The Lady Vanishes, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's supposed to be a thriller. I was not thrilled, but I enjoyed it. He has such a unique way of telling a story, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think it was bad or a waste of time. It's just they're a different speed and a different approach than things. And with starting any new season for whatever, because we start at the oldest and work our way forward, it's like you have to kind of reset a little bit and get used to the shit, and then work your way back up to batshit insanity.
Pretty much, which fucking can't wait for. And I think this is a perfect movie, too, to kind of kick off this season, because, like, when animals attack, speaking of animals attack, you can probably hear my fucking cats literally battling outside
Oddly,
the door.
I cannot.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's a pussy fight out there.
Pussy fight!
Pussy doodle fighting. I laugh every time you say that to me.
It's funny to me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But this movie is a really good representation of when nature takes back its reins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because most of the movies on, the ones that I've seen at least, most of the movies on this season that I have, I know very well, it's usually like a singular animal, attacking a singular group of people, or not singular, but like a group of people. It's not a whole flock of fucking animals. It's like when we watch Jaws, it's not 17 fucking sharks attacking Amity.
Right.
It's just one big shark who's defending itself against someone in a boat trying to kill it. Whatever. A shark is sharking is basically what I'm saying here.
Yeah, but also a shark is generally an animal that people are afraid of because of their size and what they do and water and all that shit. A bird, you just go outside and you don't expect a bird to be a problem. And now birds
Bird.
are a problem.
I have an irrational fear of sharks, but we'll get into that when we speak on Jaws. So I have a new segment for this show. I'm very excited. I don't know if I told you about it. I think I'm just kind of like surprising you with it.
I drink a lot, so there's a good chance I just don't remember if you did.
That is very fair. I will be fully honest. I stole this segment from my cousin Jackie and Andrew. They have shows about The Last of Us, Wayfaring Strangers, and The Last Cast. So if you are a fan of that franchise in any way, shape, or form, they do a deep dive of the video games, and then they do a companion show with the show when it comes out. I will post the links for their shows in the show notes so you can check them out. But it's called Would We Survive? So basically, in this segment, we're just going to kind of recap the situation that these people are put in the movie. Would we survive in Bodega Bay? Matt, why don't you go first? Would you survive a bird attack in Bodega Bay via what we saw in this movie?
I mean, that's a really good question. Probably not.
That was easy.
Yeah, I'll just be honest. I feel like the numbers, the sheer number of them, and eventually I would just give up. Also, knowing how I feel on a daily basis, I probably would have just walked outside, laid down in the street, and said, "Do your worst, birds."
Go. Well, here's the thing. I have some fun facts for you. My mother
is a whore.
I mean, that's an actual fact.
She's not listening, so you leave this in.
She might. She is a crafty bitch.
Won't that be fucking weird? That's like, this is the only way. This is the only way I can hear my sweet angel's voice. I listen to her talk about movies on the internet. She's 85 in my mind.
Well, then I will say lovingly to my mother, who I haven't spoken to in 15 years, fuck you, bitch.
I hope you choke on 12 hippococks, whore.
Oh, the imagery. Oh, God.
You're welcome.
Ugh. I hate it.
Sorry.
Anyway, she was a bird breeder, which I hated. And she also owned a lot of exotic parrots.
I have questions.
Okay, and I have answers. Go.
How do you initiate their bird fuck? Do you just like lock them in a cage and like turn on some Marvin Gaye? Let's get it on.
I mean, essentially, yeah. You just put a man. Just
put a man bird in with a lady bird, and then they make little baby birds.
That's pretty much what happens. It's just instinct takes over. They don't have to fucking like each other, and then you separate them until you want another breed of birds. Yeah, like I used to feed baby birds. I used to put the little metal thing around. What?
This makes so much more sense now.
Why does this make sense? Expound.
Because you're a lunatic.
That's true. I was forced to do it. It wasn't like, hey, I was like, Mom, this is really what I want to do. I fucking hate birds. Like,
you
in
just
my heart of
creak
hearts.
the door open and be like, I want to watch them fuck.
Oh, God, bird fucking is so weird.
I know that there's a vent involved.
A vent?
Yeah, because isn't like, they don't... Private schools, they could have lied to me, but they'd fuck like midair, right? And there isn't like a penis that goes into a lady vagina, bird vagina.
No,
It's
they're
just
not
like
fucking... They're not fucking eagles. So the birds... We actually bred lovebirds once, which was funnily enough, because lovebirds are actually very... I mean, you have to buy them in pairs. You can buy them individually. You can buy them individually, but they don't recommend it. We bred those, but they essentially, the male mounts the female ladybird from behind and just does like a weird little head bob thing. And there's some sort... You're going to fucking Google this, aren't you? Mm-hmm. All right. And something gets inserted somewhere and then eggs happen. I don't know. I didn't like intently watch it. I just took care of the fucking infant birds when they came out of their shells.
Oh, so it's called cloacal kiss. Yeah, there's
Sure.
openings. The male bird rubs the openings against each other to stimulate the flow of sperm. So yeah, so I wasn't wrong. Vent is probably not the right word. It was probably how it was described to me as a child, but it was like they're just the man's bay door opens and the woman's bay door opens and then the sperm go into her parking garage.
That's how I just, in my head, it's just like bay door open. But so yeah,
Shit.
so she had exotic birds that we owned as well, and the one was the worst fucking animal that has ever existed on this fucking planet. It probably would have been the fucking ringleader of this movie. She had a macaw. We had another one named Gabriel that I don't remember what his breed was, but he was an exotic parrot. It was illegal to have all these fucking exotic fucking animals in a Philly row home, but you know, whatever. The macaw was basically like a dog. He would literally get on his back so you could scratch his belly, and he would kiss you all the time, which bird kisses are very interesting. They just kind of take their tongue and like tap you, and their tongue is dry. It's so weird. But so I did some research. So a macaw's bite force can range from 500 to 2,000 pounds per square inch, which is insane. The African gray parrot, which is the fucking prick that she owned named Arthur, which he almost ripped her lip off. He tried to bite me numerous times. He was just fucking mean. You would go to change his water and he would just fucking attack you. He was a bitch. They have one of PSI of 400 to 700 pounds. And in this movie, they used crows / ravens because they did actually use like a lot of fucking real birds in this movie. They have like about a 300-pound PSI for a raven, but crows are actually shredders. They don't have like a really hardcore bite force. They just fucking shred you to pieces. So it kind of makes sense that they use that type of bird for this one, not like, you know, pigeons or something like that. That's not going to really fucking do anything. Knowing all of that information, if it was like one bird, I could easily swat that bitch down.
Right.
Give me up to 5 birds and I might be okay. I might get a little fucking dinged up because they got claws and shit that are fucking sharp as hell. But, you know, I think I could, you know, get out of it alive. Maybe just, you know, a little disheveled. But a swarm of them? Yeah, no, I'm dying. I'm dying immediately. But here's also the thing, and I'm going to probably repeat this about 30 times during the season because I think there's about 30 movies.
Can't wait. So excited.
I would not put myself in this type of situation. The second I would have gotten that bird swoop on my head. Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't even been in the fucking boat. But if a seagull swooped and fucking made me bleed, I'd be like, you know what, guys? Bodega Bay ain't for me. Deuces. Enjoy the lovebirds. I'm sure dinner was going to be lovely with your bitch mother.
Bodega Bay, more like Bodega Nay.
Oh, shit. I hope you say Bodega Nay when you fucking rate this.
But I'm not going to give it a nay.
Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But yeah, no, we're both dead. So RIP to us and the birds. But yeah, so I'm shocked. You're a yay?
Not really. I'm not going to. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we'll go yay. I do feel like it's a really relevant movie to the horror genre as a whole. You just gotta go into it knowing that this runs. So this is back when movies, when they were over, there wasn't 7 minutes of credits at the end. It goes till the fucking last second because it all starts at the beginning. So it's a long movie. It's 2 hours.
Yeah, these are the credits are in the beginning of these movies.
Yeah. I did almost fall asleep watching this, but I was laying on my couch underneath like 3 blankets. So I did it to myself. I was like a little burrito. Yeah,
I mean, that's living the life, really. Living the life. Yeah, I mean, it's a yay for me, too. I've watched Alfred Hitchcock movies my whole life. This was the first time I watched this from start to finish, I believe. I may have watched it when I was a kid. I just don't remember. But yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm in this like really weird phase of my life where I just love old movies. So that's not going to benefit you in any way.
Nope.
Other than expound my vocabulary and make me sound smarter. Been watching a lot of French and Italian films. I'm just, I'm cultured is basically what I'm getting at.
I was trying to think of, there was the episode of The Simpsons where Homer tries to get the weight loss tape, but he gets the vocabulary tape. And I was trying to think of what he says that next morning, and we're just fucking a lot of blanks, and I don't have enough time to...
It's cool. I will insert it right here.
Haruspicy, predicting the future through the study of animal entrails.
Dad,
Dad, do you know what today is?
The vernal equinox?
No, it's 2 weeks since you got that subliminal weight loss tape. Let's get you on the scale. You've gained 13 pounds.
Disingenuous mountebanks with their subliminal chicanery. A pox on them!
All right, so now we're going to go to Monster Minutia's. I'm going to try and get through these fairly quickly. There is a lot of them, but I'm going to skip around.
Oh, my God.
So The Birds marked Tippi Hedren's first major film role. Hitchcock discovered her on a TV commercial and then signed her to an exclusive contract, grooming her for stardom. Hitchcock was known for being highly controlling with his actors, especially with Hedren. He even supervised her wardrobe, hairstyle, and screen persona, aiming to turn her into his ideal leading lady. Now, do you know a lot about Tippi Hedren?
She's got a fucking weird name.
Well, her name isn't really Tippi. It's a nickname.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Next, you're gonna tell me that Doodles Stevenson's real name isn't Doodles.
I like to,
It's not. I looked it up before, but I thought it was funny that there's a guy named Doodles Stevenson in this movie. So
listen, with my job, I see a lot of weird names, so it wouldn't fucking shock me if any of these were real.
Fair enough.
Tippi Hedren is the mother of Melanie Griffith and the grandmother of Dakota Johnson. And we actually have a movie on here called Roar, which comes out. It came out in 1981. Tippi Hedren had a pet lion in her house that mauled Melanie Griffith, and that was the same lion that they filmed Roar with. And I'm really excited. Yeah, like if you look up, there is a whole Life magazine interview with her where this fucking huge male lion is playing in the pool with Melanie, laying in bed with Tippi. It was a legit pet to them. Fucking cuckoo cachoo. Like there's pictures of the lion trying to bite Melanie's leg.
I'm looking at it. There's one he's got his mouth around her back and she's laughing.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very gentle soul until he wasn't. Ask Sigmund and Freud too. They're animals. Anyway, Hitchcock used a mix of real birds, mechanical birds, and optical effects for the attack scenes, with live birds often tethered to actors to make the scenes more realistic. Bet that pissed off the birds. During filming, Hedren endured physical and psychological stress, particularly in the attic scene where Hitchcock replaced the fake birds with real ones. Hedren reportedly suffered cuts, scratches, and mental exhaustion due to the repeated bird attacks, which took 5 days to shoot. Could you imagine?
Nope. Sounds awful.
You have to go into this room for 5 days straight, and there's real birds that are gonna fucking scratch the shit out of you and bite you.
By day 3, they're like, all right, Tippi, let's go. They're just, give me a goddamn minute. Birds? They're gonna eat me? I'm sick of this shit.
Oh my God. I don't think I read that fact fully through the first time I put this in my notes because that's just fucking hilarious. After 1 hour, I'd be like, did we get it? 5 fucking days, 5 fucking work days. That's a 40-hour work week getting attacked by birds. Oh, shit. So, unlike many films, The Birds has no traditional musical score. I mentioned this earlier. Instead, Hitchcock relied on an eerie sound design created by electronic composer Oscar Sala and sound engineer Remy Gassman. The duo used a mix of electronically synthesized bird sounds, amplifying the unsettling atmosphere and emphasizing the unpredictability of the attacks. I did love the sound of the birds. I thought it was really menacing. And if I heard that in my home, I would be genuinely uncomfortable and kind of scared.
Yep, I agree.
Hitchcock opted for an open-ended conclusion to keep the suspense lingering after the credits rolled. The studio originally suggested adding an explanation or resolution for the bird attacks, but Hitchcock resisted, believing that the unexplained threat would have a more lasting impact on the audience. I'm going to keep this as the last minutia because there is a lot, but they're very repetitive, and I would love to end on this one. Hitchcock initially considered a more dramatic ending in which Melanie and the Brenners drive towards San Francisco only to find the Golden Gate Bridge covered in birds. This would have added a global sense of menace, suggesting that the attacks were spreading. However, the idea was scrapped due to the budget limitations and technological challenges. So I looked up to see if this was possible. Could birds take over the world if they wanted to? And in 2021, there was a study, and they estimated that there are around 50 billion birds in the world, which is about 6 birds for every human. So 1,000%, if birds wanted to, they could.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some mean ones out there too. I mean, it's not like they're just all going to be little hummingbirds. You're going to have fucking hawks and crows and vultures and all sorts of weird shit that's going to come after you.
Yeah, could you imagine just like fucking just like a bunch of like buzzards just coming at you?
No.
Oh man.
I don't want a buzzard coming at me or on me.
I don't like birds in any way, shape, or form. They scared me as a kid, and having to deal with them so intimately as a young adult and teenager. As an adult, I fucking fully avoid them. Like pigeons don't scare me, but the Philly Zoo, they have like an atrium that you can walk in, and like if you hold a little cup, birds will fly on you. I won't go in there. So yeah, that's the birds. It definitely was a cultural revelation on horror. It had huge influences. Like I said before, you don't get things like the Blair Witch Project. You don't get things like It Follows. You don't get these weird suspenseful movies without Hitchcock.
Right.
And even like the special effects, even though they're fairly lame to us jaded bitches, it was an incredible feat for 1963.
Right. We're also living 62 years in the future.
Yeah. Ooh,
so
amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what, and it's funny because the next movie that we cover in Animals Attack isn't until almost 10 years later. There wasn't much happening in that type of subgenre enough to warrant a movie. So it was definitely cornerstone.
I don't want to be an alarmist about
No one
this.
ever said you were.
I think we're in real trouble.
Huh?
I don't know how this started or why, but I know it's here, and we'd be crazy to ignore it.
To ignore what? The bird war?
Yes, the bird war, the bird attack. Call it what you like. They're massing out there someplace, and they'll be back. You can count on it.
Ridiculous.
So thanks so much for joining us on this journey in our first Animal Attack masterpiece. If you're hooked on horror as much as us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button across all those socials, but not TikTok because that shit's gone now. Or better yet, share this show with your friends. We don't want you to miss any of the wild, monstrous madness we have lined up for you. Next week, we are tackling another creature feature as per the theme. We will be discussing 1972's Frogs. So stay tuned, and when nature turns on us, there is nowhere to hide. Bye!
Bye.
Are you trying to say that all these... that sounds impossible, Sebastian.
Jake, look, I'm just telling you what happened to one of my boats.
The girls were after your fish, Mr. Scholes. Really, let's be logical about this.
But what were the crows after at the school?
What do you think they were after, Miss...
Daniels. I think they were after the children.
For what purpose?
To kill them.
Why?
I don't know why.
I thought not. Birds have been on this planet, Miss Daniels, since Archaeopteryx, 140 million years ago. Doesn't it seem odd that they'd wait all that time to start a war against humanity?
No one called it a war.
Scotch light on the
You
water.
and Mr. Scholes seem to be implying as much.
Who said anything about a war? All I said, some
Want
gold.
some more coffee?
No. Came down on one of my boats. They could have been after the fish, just like you said.
Pick up the chicken. The captain should have shot at them.
Huh?
Goats are scavengers anyway, most birds are. Get yourselves guns and wipe them off the face of the earth.
That would hardly be possible.
Why not, Mrs. Bundy?
Because there are 8,650 species of birds in the world today, Mr. Carter. It is estimated that 5,750,000,000 birds live in the United States alone. The 5 continents of the world
Kill them all, get rid of them messy animals.
probably contain more than 100 billion birds.
It's the end of the world.
You know, you keep sassing me. Maybe I will take on AI to be my co-host.
What how fucking goofy would that be?
Ha ha ha, Erika.
You are so smart and ever insightful, Erika. Ha ha ha. I like this film. I like you more, though.
My Heebies have been GB'd.
I got a new memory chip today. It heebied my GBs.
It also fucks. Fucks.
It also ducks. It's an autocorrect joke.
I got it. You ducking moron.